Chapter 1. The Demon's Lair. The forest trembled beneath the burning moon. Wexler stood at the manor doors, motionless, regal, bathed in crimson light. From the misted path, Samuel Dent stepped forward, flanked by the two towering werewolves, Lucas and Alara, their breath rising in the cold, their eyes catching the glow of firelight. Dent's voice cut through the silence. "We're here for you, Wexler." The old man smiled faintly, his words carried on the wind. "Do you truly think I would confront you myself?" Then, with a slow gesture of his hand, the air cracked open. A sigil flared, black light twisting into red, and a roar of demonic energy erupted from the ground. A portal, like a wound in the world itself, tore open before them. Before they could react, the force consumed them. The three pulled through, screaming against the storm, and then silence. They fell upon blackened soil beneath a sky of ash. The air stank of burnt iron and sorrow. Twisted trees reached upward, like the hands of the damned. Samuel Dent staggered to his feet. Where has he put us? I can feel them, hundreds of them. Spirits, tortured, trapped. This is where he keeps them. Lucas and Alara stood close, their wolf forms low, growling at the unseen things shifting in the fog. Then Dent froze. Something deeper moved in that endless gloom. Vast, ancient, watching. "There's something else here," he whispered. "Something powerful, beyond all of us." A wind rose, thick, black and living, curling through the dead forest like smoke from a dying star. The ground shook as a shape began to form within the cloud, and then the roar came. Chapter 2. The hunt in the ashlands. The air shifted. The mist ahead rippled like water, disturbed by something enormous. A sound began. Distant at first. A low, rolling thunder. It wasn't thunder at all. It was breath. Heavy, ragged, and growing closer. Samuel Dent turned, eyes wide. "Run for it!" The three burst into motion. Lucas and Alara tore through the dead woods, their claws kicking up ash and bone dust, while Dent stumbled after them, coat whipping in the wind. Behind them, the cloud surged forward, a living storm of black dust and screams. Shapes writhed within it, faces, arms, fragments of the damned, all crying out as one. Branches snapped overhead as the ground trembled. Alara glanced back. The thing was gaining. In an instant, she doubled back, scooped Dent up with a snarl, and leapt aside, just as the storm crashed through the trees where they had stood. A shockwave of debris burst outward. Lucas roared, his massive frame shielding them, as fragments of rock and bone flew past. For a heartbeat, silence. Then, movement again, from every direction. "It's circling us," Dent shouted. They sprinted, weaving between dead trunks and shattered roots. Ash clung to their fur, and the crimson glow of the moon above seemed to follow, painting the desolation in blood. The sound of the storm changed, deeper now, pulsing like a heartbeat. It rose behind them, towering high as the skeletal trees, and then it stopped. The air stilled. Dust swirled in the faint light as the great cloud began to fold in on itself, condensing, twisting, solidifying, and from within that vortex, it emerged. A colossal werewolf, its body carved from smoke and flame, claws like shards of obsidian, eyes burning with the light of the crimson moon. Its form pulsed with veins of molten red, half spirit, half flesh, a demon that had taken the shape of their own kind. Alara stepped back, growling low. Lucas lowered his stance beside her. Dent stared upward, voice barely a whisper. "Oh God, it's not a demon. It's a god that forgot what mercy was." The creature opened its mouth. The sound that followed wasn't a roar. It was every scream in hell. unison. Chapter 3. The Demon Wolf. The ground shook as the thing stepped forward. It wasn't a creature. It was a mountain that breathed. The demon wolf loomed above them, its form so vast that its claws crushed trees into splinters with every step. Its skin was shadow and smoke, molten cracks of red pulsing beneath like rivers of fire. When it exhaled, the air rippled with heat and the smell of death. Lucas and Alara stood beneath it, tiny against the impossible scale. For a heartbeat, none of them moved. Then Dent's voice broke through the thunder. Now I see why he didn't send an elder. They'd have been crushed before they even saw it come in. The beast turned its head, slowly, deliberately, and looked straight at them. Its eyes burned with twin suns of hatred. "Give it a runaround," Dent shouted. "Keep it busy. I'll try to influence it." The werewolves darted in opposite directions, blurs of muscle and fur cutting through the fog. The demon wolf's roar rolled across the wasteland like an earthquake. It struck down with a claw the size of a carriage, the ground exploding where Lucas had stood seconds before. Alara leapt, clinging to a shattered trunk, flipping backward as the creature's breath ignited the air beneath her. Lucas dashed in low, claws raking the surface of its leg, but the blow did nothing, not even a scratch. "It's not working," Dent shouted. He closed his eyes, raising a trembling hand. The air shimmered around him, symbols burning briefly in the smoke. He reached for its essence, tried to grasp it, to command it, but it was like trying to hold lightning. "I can't," he gasped. "I can't break through to this one. This thing isn't bound by spirit law. It's beyond even me." The creature roared again, lowering itself, jaws opening wide enough to swallow the three of them whole. "Move," Dent yelled, but the wolves already had. They sprinted across the blackened field as the demon wolf's head crashed into the ground behind them, the shockwave throwing them forward. Dent stumbled, too slow. The monster's shadow fell over him, claw rising. At the last second, Alara darted back, seized Dent by the collar, and yanked him off the ground. She carried him awkwardly across her arms like a child as they sprinted through the ash. "You could have warned me first," he coughed, holding tight as debris rained down. "This is not my preferred method of travel." Lucas barked something between a growl and a laugh as they bolted toward the jagged rocks ahead. Behind them, the creature howled. Sound so loud the sky itself seemed to tear. They reached a cluster of massive stone formations, black as coal and slick with ash. Lucas leapt first, smashing through a narrow gap that opened into a hollow beneath the rocks. Alara dove in next, sliding Dent onto the ground as they pressed themselves against the cold stone. Outside, the demon wolf's footsteps thundered past. For a long moment, all was still, only the echo of its roars fading into the distance. Dent exhaled, chest heaving, covered in ash. "Well," he said finally, dusting off his sleeve, "if anyone asks, I absolutely had that under control." Alara glared at him. Lucas growled quietly in response. Dent sighed. All right. New plan. We hide, we think, and we pray it doesn't sniff us out before sunrise." The cave shuddered as another distant roar rolled across the ashlands. The light of the burning moon filtered through cracks in the stone, bathing them in red. And somewhere, far beyond the mist, Vexler was watching. Chapter 4. The Whispering Dead. The cave was silent, except for the sound of breathing. slow, ragged, uneven. Ash drifted through the cracks in the stone like falling snow. Samuel Dent sat slumped against the wall, coat torn, eyes fixed on the narrow slit of red light bleeding in from outside. Beyond that light, something massive was moving. The two lichens, Lucas and Alara, crouched near the entrance, hulking silhouettes against the gloom. Steam rose from their fur with every breath. Their glowing eyes caught the faint shimmer of the moon through the cracks. Dent spoke softly, half to them, half to himself. "There's just no getting through. It's demonic. Not lesser, not bound. A major, more powerful than anything I've ever felt." He dragged a hand through his hair, leaving a smear of soot across his face. "I can't influence it, can't reason with it. It's not a creature of logic or will. It's hunger given shape. Once it's ready, it'll smash through this rock like it's cracking an egg." The lichens said nothing. They only watched him, intelligent eyes, silent, waiting for something he didn't have. "I know," Dent muttered. "You can't talk. Doesn't mean I can't feel you judging me." Alara tilted her head slightly. Lucas gave a low, rumbling growl that sounded almost like a laugh. Dent sighed. "Fine, you're right. Sitting here feeling sorry for ourselves isn't going to save us." He closed his eyes and reached out with his mind. The air inside the cave shimmered faintly, like heat waves on a desert road, and his voice dropped to a whisper. "Show me what's here." For a moment, there was only silence, then whispers. Soft, fractured voices began to seep through the stone. They came from everywhere, dozens at first, then hundreds. The cave filled with murmurs, gasps, cries, some pleading, some screaming, some too broken to form words at all. Dent clutched his head, his voice breaking. "God, there are thousands of them. Souls, spirits trapped here. He's feeding on them. The demon, it's using their pain, drinking it, shaping it into itself." A cold wind pushed through the cave mouth, carrying the faint smell of iron and rot. The voices grew louder, echoing, overlapping, rising to a crescendo of despair. Lucas snarled, claws scraping the stone. Alara turned toward the entrance, ears twitching. They could hear it too now. Not the whispers, but something else. Heavy, rhythmic. Footsteps. The demon wolf was moving again. Closer. Each impact shook dust from the ceiling. The whispers fell silent, one by one, until only the sound of its breathing filled the night. Dent looked up at the two lichens, his face pale in the crimson light. "It's coming," he whispered, "and it knows exactly where we are." The cave trembled as another step landed outside. Then another, and then the first crack appeared in the rock. Chapter 5. The Army of the Dead. The cave shook like the world itself was coming apart. Outside, the sound of the demon wolf's footsteps grew louder, each one a rolling thunder that cracked the stone above them. Dust rained down, rocks splintered. The three of them could feel it, drawing closer. Lucas crouched low, claws digging into the dirt. Then, with deliberate motion, he dragged one claw through the ash, drawing a circle on the ground. Inside it, he carved a single mark, the number 1. Samuel Dent blinked, confused. "What is this? What are you trying to—" He stopped. Something about the symbol, about the circle, sparked in his mind. He stared at it, eyes wide, realization dawning. "One ring," he whispered, "to rule them all." Lucas roared, a sound so deep it shook the cave walls. Dent smiled, the kind of tired grin of a man who suddenly understood the impossible. "I see what you're saying, my friend." He rose to his feet, dust swirling around him as faint arcs of energy began to crackle through the air. Pale blue, like lightning under ice. "I can't control a demon," Dent said softly, "but I can reach them." He closed his eyes. His breathing slowed, and then he reached, not outward, but downward, through the ground, through the layers of ash, bone, and despair, into the endless depths where the trapped souls lay. The air around him shimmered. Whispers filled the cave again, thousands of them this time, no longer pleading, but listening. Outside, the demon wolf's growls split the air. The two lichens turned, understanding without words. Lucas touched Dent's shoulder once, then nodded to Alara. They ran out of the cave, into the ashlands. The demon wolf saw them immediately, roared, and charged. The ground split open as it pursued, claws carving trenches through stone. Lucas and Alara darted left and right, weaving, dodging, leaping through clouds of ash, trying to draw it away. Back in the cave, Dent's eyes were open now, glowing white. The whispers had become a chant, 1,000 voices rising as one. "You are not slaves," he murmured. "You are legion." The earth began to tremble. Far across the wasteland, shapes started to rise. Pale figures, translucent, twisted, the spirits of the tormented dead. Hundreds, then thousands. Their eyes burned faintly blue as they turned towards the demon wolf. The monster hesitated for the first time, and then they came like a wave. The dead surged forward. An army of ghosts, howling in fury, swarming up the demon wolf's massive legs, tearing into its smoky flesh. The air was filled with shrieks, the wailing of the dead, the roars of the beast. The lichens watched in awe as the spirits climbed, thousands of them, clinging, clawing, boring into the demon's body like living vengeance. Its molten veins flickered, darkened. Every scream it gave was answered by 100 more. Samuel Dent, still deep in the trance, whispered through clenched teeth, "You were never his to keep. Now take back what he stole." The demon wolf staggered. Then it fell, its colossal form collapsing under the weight of the dead, sinking to its knees, howling one final time as its body cracked apart, like stone breaking under ice. The spirits swarmed over it completely, swallowing it whole in a blinding surge of white-blue light. When the light faded, there was only silence, a field of ash, and 3 figures, 1 man and 2 beasts, standing amid the ruins of a god. Dent looked out over the wasteland, voice soft. "Well, that worked better than I expected," Alara huffed. Lucas snorted, shaking ash from his fur. Above them, the crimson moon began to fade. The burning dimmed, and for the first time since their arrival, the sky began to turn grey. Chapter 6. The demons return. The sky cracked. The ashlands trembled as the last remnants of the demon wolf dissolved into light. A wind tore through the dead forest, pulling at everything. Trees, bones, dust, even the air itself. Samuel Dent looked around, feeling the change. The world was breaking. The ground split open in glowing purple veins, energy bleeding upward like liquid lightning. "I think we overstayed our welcome," he muttered. Lucas and Alara stood beside him, fur rippling in the current. The horizon folded inward, collapsing into a whirl of violet mist. Dent looked up, shielding his eyes. "Well, that's new." The mist twisted tighter, forming a vortex, a spiral of light and shadow that grew brighter with every heartbeat. Then it began to pull, dust, stones, everything. The 3 of them tried to brace themselves, but the pull was too strong. The vortex screamed open, swallowing them whole in a rush of light. When the world reformed, they were standing once again before Wexler's manor. The night was still, eerily quiet. The burning moon hung high, its glow faint but watchful. Wexler stood at the open door, hands folded neatly behind his back. He was smiling. Dent straightened his coat, brushing ash from his sleeves. "We're back." "Wexler, indeed you are." His voice calm, almost amused. "You've done what few ever have. Felled one of my creations. Impressive." He took a slow step forward, eyes glinting. "But you see, that was just one, and I have plenty more." Behind him, faint shapes began to stir in the shadows, outlines of other colossal forms, shifting, breathing. "Tell me," Wexler said softly, "what will you do against an army of them? Here, where there are no spirits to command, no souls to sway, just you and me." Dent exhaled, glanced at Lucas and Alara, then dropped into what could generously be called a fighting stance, legs wide, fists up awkwardly. "Well," he said, trying to sound confident, "bring it on."
You guys want some of this?
Wexler raised an eyebrow. The lichens lowered themselves beside Dent, growling, claws gleaming in the moonlight. The wind shifted, the forest groaned, and from the darkness behind the manor, movement. Dozens of shapes towering, crawling, each radiating the same red glow. Dent grinned weakly. "Oh, you've got to be kidding me."